This podcast brought to you by Digital Diamond Entertainment.
All right, Vex, run the intro.
So when am I getting paid for this?
Kind of like a podcast, sort of, but not really. We're podcast-ish.
What's this ish? What do you mean ish? Hey, you guys should put that way.
Some material may be inappropriate for children under 13.
Hey, welcome back to the Podcast-ish Podcast, where every week we give you the facts, fiction, and twisted opinions on aspects of human behavior. We believe words are important and the facts don't give a fuck about your feelings. So sit back and strap in, because this week the set goes in on emotions, reactions, and actions.
I get so emotional, baby.
How did I know he was going to break out with that bullshit? I'm your host, Pernell Ramla, a.k.a. Podcast P. To my right...
I am Will Hayes, a.k.a. Will Hayes.
And to his right, your left.
This is the one and only inevitable gorilla John Vex, otherwise known as the Caramel Experience. yeah.
He had to
All you
stay
like
with
it. All you like it, man.
How was your weeks, man? What's going on? We're getting close to Christmas. What's happening?
Man, panic mode. No, actually, no, I'm not panicking at all.
You get your gifts already?
I have not purchased anything yet.
What'd you get me?
I said nothing.
What are you gonna get me?
Nothing.
Okay, sounds about right.
Nothing.
All right.
I was gonna give you a pair of Jordan 11s, but you don't like them, so sorry.
I love Jordan 11s.
No, you can't go back. You can't go
No,
back.
I told you those ones in the breads are the only ones I'd probably get. But
Can we do a little $20 gift exchange?
We can, yes.
sure,
I have $20.
we're just gonna exchange $20. I'll
No,
give you 20.
dead
You give
ass.
me
I don't
20.
want-
Give me 20.
I don't want Vex to be stuck buying motherfuckers fucking Jordan 11s and Lab 4s and shit like that, and I'm over here like, well, here's a box of motherfucking turtles.
Here's a box of empty bottles.
Fuck.
Go recycle them
I
and
ain't
get your own
giving away
box
my
of turtles.
empty bottles. Fuck that.
What are you saving for a rainy day?
Nah, I drink liquor to cash in for liquor.
Okay. Just see the look I'm getting right now. John, you getting comfy? What's happening here?
Yeah, man.
What's going on?
Yeah, man.
Listen, we're going into emotions today on this episode. We're actually doing 2 episodes tonight. The reason we're doing emotions is I was just explaining to these guys over the last 6 weeks or 8 weeks, we've done every topic has been something that has been affecting me in some way or another.
Oh, so you're doing selfish topics then?
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I am.
Yeah.
It's just something that this podcast, I've noticed that over the past, 8 months we've been doing this, it's like, if something comes up in my life, or if I notice something in somebody else's life, I kind of want to address those topics.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I know our listeners, and I know the people that need it, want to hear kind of our resolution to it. Not necessarily take our advice, but hear what we say about it.
Right.
And I've been getting more and more lately, messages, private messages, text messages, phone calls even, from a bunch of people just asking my opinion on different things. Like my opinion actually matters. Just to let you guys know, it
so wrong.
doesn't. My opinion doesn't matter. I can give you the facts, and I can give you bullshit after that.
Yeah.
You got to make your own decision. Be your own person.
But that begs the question then.
Mm-hmm.
Do you base any of your opinions that you have
Mm-hmm.
on facts?
Yeah,
Okay, do you try to base the majority of your opinions on facts?
absolutely.
Okay, so then your opinion does matter.
Well, no, my opinion is just facts.
You're just wondering why.
Crumpled up and vomited back out.
Yeah, why your opinion would matter to someone else. pretty
Yeah,
much.
I've always been a guy that that does his own research and does whatever he has to do to find out the answer to an issue he's having, right? So
Right.
it's hard for me to give advice, especially when we did the protest one.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that was big because there was a lot. I had so much interaction with that one because so many people were asking, what they think I should do, or what they think they should do, what they think I think they should do, and I'm like, listen,
Yeah.
I'm like,
I just want to let you know that I know that you know.
Hey, girl,
I need you to help me, help you, help me.
couldn't help but notice you over there, notice me, notice you. So I want to put
you on notice that I had noticed. Yeah, no, and that's basically what this one's about, because the last I was feeling away last week or a week and a half, and it kind of came to fruition. I had to have a sit down with one of my partners and be like, yo, listen, we talked about things and let him know how I was feeling, and he was like, okay, cool, we good with it now, right? But just to let emotions get out there is a lot more difficult, I think, for men than women, because we tend to show our feelings by doing other things except show our feelings. Anything other than show our feelings is how we'll show our feelings, unless it's anger or frustration.
I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Okay.
What I do think though is, in the general scheme of things, I think women compared to men feel emotions more strongly, so they are able to handle emotions better than men do.
All right.
Right?
You mean act upon their emotions more logically than men?
No.
just
Just
feel
how
them?
to. So if you're used to, let's say, running every day,
Right.
right? When it comes to running the marathon, you know how to deal with fatigue better than someone who doesn't run a lot.
True.
Right? So you can handle it better. Right? Whereas when it comes to emotions, I believe women are more emotional creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That is neither a good or a bad thing. I'm not taking a shot at anyone or disparaging anyone. I'm just trying to state a fact
Not yet.
as I've observed it. Right? That being said, because they feel emotions more than men do, they know how to handle them better than men do. They know how to handle them more than men know how to handle them.
Okay.
Right?
Like of the same
So-
level of emotion, they know how to handle it a little better than men would.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Let's run into the definition here, and then I'm just gonna read a little quick thing. We can get into it, whatever you guys want to do here. So dictionary off Google says emotion is a noun, a natural instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationships with others.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. With does it have to be with others though?
No, I don't think so,
I don't
but
think so either.
sometimes I just sit alone and cry.
Why do we bring him on here?
He was here when I got here.
I came with the building.
He has a key. The concept of basic or primary emotions dates back to at least to the Book of Rights, a first-century Chinese encyclopedia that identifies 7 feelings of men. So joy, anger, sadness, fear, love, disliking, and liking. In the 20th century, Paul Ekman identified 6 basic emotions: anger, disgust, fear, happiness, sadness, and surprise. And Robert Plutchik 8, which he grouped into 4 pairs of polar opposites: joy, sadness, anger, fear, trust, distrust, and surprise, anticipation.
What was the Chinese one again?
What?
What were the emotions outlined in the Chinese book?
The Chinese encyclopedia defines 7. And it's joy, anger, sadness, fear, love, disliking, and liking.
It sounds like Facebook posts.
Is there... You can't dislike, though.
No, you can't dislike.
There really needs to be a
I'm
thumb
really
down button.
against. Yeah, I think no. With people so sensitive.
Yeah, people would abuse it, and then everyone gets reported, and no one's on Facebook.
Yeah, or
Facebook doesn't want that.
Someone's gonna
Either that or
get
natural selection takes effect.
someone's gonna get too many dislikes and commit suicide, and
That's what I'm saying.
Thing. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
let's kickstart the Darwin Awards, right? Like,
It said that basic emotions evolved in response to the ecological challenges faced by remote ancestors and are so primitive as to be hardwired. So, with each basic emotion corresponding to a distinct and dedicated neurological circuit. Being hardwired, basic emotions, or affect programs, are innate and universal, automatic and fast, and trigger behavior with a high survival value. So much can hardly be said of more complex emotions, such as humility or nostalgia, which, for example, are never attributed to infants and animals. Which
Well, you can't be nostalgic and an infant like you.
exactly,
Yes.
Remember when I was in the pussy?
really,
I remember that womb
or
very well.
no humility because you have no pride when you're a kid, I guess, right?
Well,
or
humility,
shame.
yeah, there's no shame when you're a kid. Trust me, I have a 5-year-old who says, "You know what? Sometimes naked is good," and I'm like, "No." It's like, I mean, when it's
Not
just a
when you're
family-
at school,
yeah,
please.
It's not at school, not in the summertime.
Did she
when
try that
it's
shit?
Yo, when she was younger, she hates pants, and I'm like, if we have company over, baby, you need to put pants on. I don't like pants. Okay, but this is also a child that will not wear a dress. Like, if you try to put her in a dress, the neighbors will call the police, think that you're physically abusing this child. She will not put on a dress, but she's like a little 30-year-old man. Like, when she gets in the house, she strips the pants are gone, the television's on, whatever she wants to watch, and she has her drink. Like, she's a 30-year-old man.
That's ridiculous. My son is like that too, except his video games. His pants just come off.
Yeah.
Are you in your pajamas? Yeah, I'm in pajamas. Walking, he's in his underwear, just knocking out his underwear. I'm like,
Yeah, that's not pajamas.
I'm like, you getting
kid.
your pajamas? No, I don't want. Okay, get in fucking bed then.
And I don't know where they get it from because my pants stay on pretty much all the time.
Yeah, Yeah.
Like I sleep in shorts.
But when you were a kid,
I can't remember.
My mom used to tell me that I used to love being naked. Maybe,
I know,
maybe it's human behavior. Maybe we all love being naked until we're told to put clothes on.
Well,
Should we all just run around naked? I mean, I don't want to, but should we all just?
No.
no.
Okay.
Some things I just don't want to see when I'm out riding
Yeah,
my bike.
unless you're a female with double D's. Anyway, whatever. It's another story entirely. That's not what this episode is about.
And even then, if I see that too much, then I'm desensitized.
No pun intended.
One hypothesis is that basic emotions can function as building blocks, with more complex emotions being blends of basic ones. For instance, contempt could amount to a blend of anger and disgust. However, many complex emotions cannot be deconstructed into more basic ones, and the theory does not adequately explain why infants and animals do not share in complex emotions. Instead, it could be that complex emotions are an amalgam of basic emotions and cognitions, with certain combinations being sufficiently common or important to be named in language. Thus, frustration could amount to anger combined with the belief that nothing can be done. And again, many complex emotions resist such analysis. Moreover, basic emotions can themselves result from quite complex cognitions. For instance, Tim's panic upon realizing, or even just believing, that he has slept through an important exam. All right? So if you just believe something happened and it didn't even happen, you could get emotions can come out,
Of course.
right? Although basic emotions have been compared to programs, it does not seem that the potential objects are open to cultural conditioning. If poor Tim fears having missed his exam, this is in large part because of the value that his culture and microculture attach to academic success. I can't even read. With more complex emotions, it is the emotion itself rather than its potential object that is culturally shaped and constructed.
It's weird how a lot of these emotions are based off of feelings. But it's weird that they're trying to show you how these feelings are constructed, but not once does it tell you that these feelings are constructed off of feelings that you got from experience. So poor Tim could have had the experience. So let's say poor Tim missed a test before, was nonchalant about it, then got reamed out by his teacher, and he's having this anxious
They do
feeling.
say it's culturally shaped, right? So that could have happened before. It doesn't actually go into the specifics of how that was culturally shaped. That could have been something that happened, right?
Yeah, but culturally shaped isn't always an experience. Culturally shaped is just based off of he could have never missed the test before.
No, I
or
get
even
that.
experienced
Yeah, but
that.
the observation of what would happen,
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have missed the test and could have gotten.
No,
reamed
I
out
know,
and all
I
that.
know that,
Yeah.
right? But at the end of the day, that's not outlined in these examples, which is what I find weird. Where it doesn't say and some emotions that you experience, emotions based off of past experience that gave you that emotion.
Right.
So anxiety could be based off of something that happened, and now you're getting anxiety because you're going through a process that's similar to what led up to what happened. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, I get what you're
the
saying.
Pavlov effect kind of thing,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. Now, what I want to know is, and this is where my Vulcan brain kicks in, does that article state or go over what the purpose or the hypothesized purpose of emotions are?
No.
Interesting.
Except for
Fascinating.
That's fascinating. I did read when I was doing my research on this. I read that it is for survival mostly.
But yeah, no, some of them I can definitely see low. So, like for example, fear.
Right.
Right, the whole fight or flight kind of instinct in you is definitely a survival thing, right? But something like happiness, how would that help you survive, really?
I guess you're happy if you're eating something that tastes good. You know it tastes good, so you're going to survive. By
Yeah,
eating
no,
that thing?
yeah, but I mean to extend that beyond just something that sustains you, right?
Let's say happiness. Happiness would keep you relatively in the situations that make you happy. So let's say happiness around a group of people.
It's
and that's
safety.
emotion that you get. That's happiness may program you to stay within that group of people for safety.
Yeah.
Right, and we run towards happiness all our time. You could look at that's what drugs do, right? They release the endorphins that make you happy, right?
Right.
If you're around friends that you really like Will was saying, you're going to be happy, so you're going to chase that, right? You're going to try and be around those friends more.
So then, what
If
about
you're-
something like sadness? Because sadness isn't fear or it isn't anger. Because I could see the application of anger, for example.
Right. Well, haven't you heard
Right.
that sadness is all depression these days? It should be treated with medication.
But then you got to think about maybe emotions are our brain's way of releasing So we're releasing these endorphins, these everything. Because if the brain holds on to them, it may cause detriment.
Well, and
so
that's-
the brain releases it. You feel these emotions, and based off of that situation, you may not like a baby doesn't know it's happy when you're jiggling keys and it's laughing, but through experience, you know what that happiness feeling is, right? So
Well,
because
maybe at the time the baby knows. We just don't remember it.
the baby doesn't know because it's like
Babies are
Is it just an
stupid.
instinct?
if you woke up in a box and you're in that box for 20 years and all of a sudden you saw a rose, you've never saw a rose before, you would know that you're looking at a rose.
No, I get that.
So a baby feeling happiness doesn't know it's feeling happiness. It's just a
But it
reaction.
knows it's feeling something, or is it just a reaction to it?
I don't even know if the baby would realize that it's feeling something, because it's in order for you to feel something, in most cases, your brain recognizes the brain feeling something. So your brain tells yourself, "This, I'm feeling this," and then you, if you can, even if you can't, you realize that you're feeling something. Whereas a baby doesn't. It may just be off a reflex. They may be feeling it, but the baby doesn't realize it's feeling it.
So we have the intellect to distinguish what is what, right? Is what you're kind of saying, and a baby really doesn't have the experience to draw from.
It's just it's just happening for the baby. It's a reflex.
Okay.
Whereas everybody has a reflex
Yeah.
and doesn't know they have that. And I don't know why I did that. It's just a reflex. And I think emotions in a child are just reflexes. In a young child, when a baby's crying, it's not an emotion. I'm
it's
hungry. I
hungry.
need to tell you something. I
Right.
shit myself. It's uncomfortable.
So that would be the reaction side of emotions
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
And then my whole reason of saying that is because you have sociopaths and psychopaths. I think more on the psychopath side, where they are incapable of feeling emotion.
y'all gonna keep dropping stuff, or
Yeah.
all right?
And since they're incapable of feeling emotion, they do things to give their brains a stimulant. So the brain's saying, I need to be stimulated some way. I can't feel. And I think emotion is a way of our brain releasing that stimulant so we don't, for a lack of better terms, act unhuman.
I get that. I wanted that. It was nice that you touched on that, because I wanted to go into what we feel emotion in every part of our body, right?
In every part.
In
Like
every
with
part?
big toe and all kind of thing.
big, yeah. I mean,
Earlobes?
we feel it all over our body, not just our brain. Is what I'm trying to get
My
at.
nose hole,
Chin hair.
chin hair, left eyelash.
I got a cuticle that's out of place. It's feeling mighty sad.
What I want to get into. Somebody's just cut these guys off.
My pectoral.
My left pectoral happy, but my other one's sad.
What I was trying to get at is even though
My
if we
titty angry. Sorry, go ahead. Go, sorry. It was in there. If I wouldn't have let that out.
You would have gotten very sad
Yeah, exactly.
and frustrated.
So if we feel, I mean, emotions obviously originate in the brain. Now, are we feeling it within our whole body, or is that just our bodies reacting to what our brain is telling us how to react?
No, because not everybody, myself included, knows how to react to some emotions.
Right, but there is other emotions that we are very inept at, or adept at being able to react to or act as. Right.
Well, and like you said in your, I agree, because like you said through the spiel, I just really like belittled your whole fucking definition, but
spiel.
definitely not what I meant. But
It's exactly what you meant.
when you went into the first ones, like in ancient times, they probably didn't have the intellect to kind of decipher between basic raw emotions that are
You're talking
like
prehistoric,
fight,
right?
Prehistoric, like
Yeah.
fight or flight. I even think love is an emotion that it's only there to help procreate. So you think about, you release it, you find someone, you release these endorphins, you love that person. Now it's almost a guarantee in those times that you're going to procreate.
Yeah.
And I think that's I think
We're
women
talking
feel it-
romantic love, right?
romantic love.
Yeah.
And I think that's why women feel it different. Women feel a romantic connection through sex, things like that, right? I think that's a prehistoric thing. But then you got to go into the complex emotions, and complex emotions, those are derived from cultural, those are derived from experiences, those are derived from different type of factors and variables that have been putting into our life. I feel emotion. When social media started getting heavy, even though we were kind of like the the pioneers of social media. We jumped on Facebook early.
MySpace
Remember you
and all that shit,
MySpace
yeah.
and all that shit. Remember you could do graffiti on Facebook walls and shit like that, right? And when it started developing, I started feeling emotions based off of things happening in social media that I've never felt before. I didn't feel these emotions that the kid running around. And they're complex. So it would be a form of let's say anxiety mixed with fear mixed with excitement. You know what I'm saying? Let's say you're feeling some kind of emotion based off of I got too many likes, or I didn't get that many likes, or someone I don't know had a big spiel going against what I said. Now I'm not angry, but I have an emotional reaction to that. So I think and that's just a bare example that if I can't even get into detail.
What kind of reactions do you have if it's not?
No,
anger?
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's just an example. So
No, but I just want. I actually.
I'd
wanna
have
know.
to. I wouldn't be able to intelligently tell you what it was without looking into it, writing some shit down.
Can you unintelligently tell me?
No, I can't.
Okay.
But my whole thing is like, so I think with the complex emotions, reason you have more people, especially why you have more people feeling anxiety and trying to explain what anxiety is. I do feel like in today's day and age, heavy anxiety is different than what anxiety was in the 80s.
Yeah,
On a different
but
level,
I think the thing is, the emotions haven't necessarily changed. It's just the triggers of them have changed.
Right.
Right. So the scenarios causing the emotions have morphed into something else. So I mean,
Exactly.
obviously, like you have the standard ones, like, yo, you're threatening me, so I'm either gonna run away, or I'm gonna fight you, right? Which is, I guess, an offshoot of anger, or an offshoot of panic, an offshoot of fear.
Flight. Yeah, it's
Right.
Because
So-
you're not thinking at that point. You're not thinking fight or flight or survival.
Yeah.
But now you're having with anger. Anger shouldn't give a fight or flight, right? So now anger is giving that fight or flight. So I think if you take what both we said, I think it's not different emotions, and definitely different variables are causing emotions.
Yeah.
But I think now we're having these complex emotions, and now they're bundled together.
Yeah.
So now we're having hybrid emotions.
Well, yeah, no, and you know what? I was actually thinking about this a little while ago. I don't know if I personally can differentiate between me getting angry, me being disappointed, and something like that. Where
Yeah, you can.
Like, I don't think, like, me personally, right?
No,
don't,
I know you can.
right,
personally.
like, because I can't.
I don't know how a nigga personally gonna tell you something you saying personally you wrong.
Because
Like-
no, here's the thing. Here's the thing is because even though you, I know you say you can't recognize it, but the way I've seen you in both of those, in both those scenarios, and I've seen the way the situation has been dealt with completely differently.
Yeah, no.
So
no.
even though I recognize it, you don't.
Yeah, well, in my mind, it's just levels of anger.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
And that's what it breaks down to, right? They break it down to seven different core emotions that everything kind of melts down to, right? Now,
Right, the common denominator emotion.
yeah, irreducible.
that-
They
yeah.
call it the four irreducible emotions, right? So, following Ekman's work, research team at the University of Glasgow in 2014 aimed to identify the emotions based on facial expressions, irrespective of socio-cultural influences. I'm reading something off of verywellmind.com, by the way. What the researchers found was that certain emotions elicited the same facial response. Fear and surprise, for example, engaged the same facial muscles. And rather than representing two emotions, could be seen as one. The same could be
Fear and
applied to
surprise.
disgust and anger, or excitement and shock.
But surprise, see, that's where.
That's where the complexity comes in, right?
Like,
Because
so is it a surprise where it's like I give you a gift, you open it up, and
And
like, I
it's
wasn't
like,
expecting
yeah,
that?
you're
Or
gonna
is it
do this,
surprise,
like-
surprise,
Yeah.
because that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
and again, there's
So what's
there's-
surprise?
Again, there's levels, right? But
pop up surprise, pop out
this-
surprise, pop in surprise, like
Surprise.
Right, that's what I'm
sex.
saying, right? They only base it on facial recognition or facial expressions, right? So I'm not sure if they knew exactly how big the surprise was or if they knew what was going on with
But
it.
I mean, but-
they're just saying that the facial muscles did the same things, no matter what, whether it was fear or surprise.
Right, but fear is surprise. Like fear is a basic one. Surprise isn't basic. So we don't know, like, does it say in there what they did as the surprise? Because if someone pops out and yells surprise, like you walk into a surprise party, I can see how that has the same thing as fear.
Yeah.
But I can't see the same, but then I could see the surprise muscles being the same as the happy and joy muscles when you open up a present and it's a new puppy.
I think they're saying at those micro emotions that were talked about 10 years ago. You remember on the OJ trial what was the blonde dude? And he had micro
Kato
emotions.
Kaelin.
Kato Kaelin had micro emotions on the stand.
Or micro expressions.
Micro expressions, sorry. And that's where they kind of were those very small.
Is that what it says in there?
No, but that's what I'm saying is that there must be that because the more I read on here, it says it just goes based on their findings. The scientists pared down the number of irreducible emotions to just 4: happiness, sadness, anger, and fear.
But those aren't the ones that have the mic. I think the
The micro expressions will betray one of those 4 basic emotions.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think I like where this is going, but in order for me to understand it, I need to know what the tests were. Because
Yes.
even with the micro emotions, it's hard to get a micro like you can get if they said we were doing the micro emotions, so the fear may have been just playing a scary music or something like that, or something that is.
But
so
I
it's
think
not like
the point of that was they were. So you've seen those studies where people will read someone's face,
Yeah.
right? And even though, and I think some of the best,
if you try to mask it as best you can,
you
still
will still get found, right? Like some of the best, I guess, lie detectors, right?
the FBI,
Not like
like Lie to Me.
Yeah, right. The best
That
interviewers, they will be able to discern small changes in expression, and those can now be linked to one of those 4, I suppose, basic emotions. Right now, my point is like with those 4 basic emotions, I am unable to discern. Shall we say the offshoots of them in myself?
You are just segueing right into all this, aren't you? So beyond those 4, they argued the more complex variations of emotions have evolved over the millennia under numerous social and cultural influences. The commonality of facial expressions is primarily biological, while the distinction between subtle and complex emotional expressions are mainly sociological, things that we as a culture have learned and developed over time.
Okay. Now, do they give an explanation as to why different cultures seem to have developed the same types of expressions for emotions?
And it's very strange because that I have not found anything about that over all of my research.
Because regardless of where you go in the world,
Right.
you can tell if someone's happy.
Well,
You
I
can
think-
tell if someone is sad.
And I think that just boils down to us as a species, really.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
Yeah, it
look
has
at-
nothing to do with cultures. It's
exactly.
just a species
That just
thing.
goes to prove even more that we all are the same, right? We're not. There's no difference in skin colors and things like that, right? When you look at it, culturally, yes, we're different.
Yeah.
But physiologically, we're all the same. Like
Yeah.
there's things in us that instincts in us and things that we do that are so natural to us. Everybody in the world does them. We all breathe. We all sleep. We all eat. We all shit. We all fuck. We all have the same emotions, right? And they can all be boiled down to these basic 4.
Yeah.
Right, which is very strange, and it's like when you look at things like that, and you look at how different people react to them, you only have to take what's going on socially with those people to realize the way they're reacting is either reaction or action, overreacting or not, or having too subtle a reaction. Does
Right.
that making sense?
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Right. So the way we choose to deal with it, like you were saying at the very top of the show, is that the way we choose to deal with it is all structured on what is accepted socially, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, like, I suppose you go to certain places and just as a very, very drastic example, very blatant example, I guess I could say, certain places you go and a somber event is full of crying, like a funeral, for example, right? Everyone's crying, everyone's weeping, whereas other places, the culture is, let's have a party.
That's us in the Caribbean. We have a
right?
party.
Yeah, well, we have both crying and party.
Well, yeah.
But I think that goes to the cultural belief of what happens when you die. If you have different cultures, I know like Samoans, a lot of cultures that aren't Western culture feel that, and a lot of indigenous, so not Western and indigenous cultures feel that when you die, you're just graduating.
Right.
And some of them even, like, I would say a form of envy that you're going on to the next level of spirituality. So whatever we did before, now we're just here as vessels, and then da-da-da. So they're not, that's why they're not crying. They're celebrating they're laughing, they're playing, they're celebrating your life and celebrating your transition on to the next. Whereas in Western culture, in most Western cultures, most I don't know. I want to say colonized places, the belief that death is the ultimate end, and then it's a somber thing. And then you got to think about people. We feel an attachment to who we are as people right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
because
then
we're living in the
yeah.
physical, right?
And then we're not
living in the metaphysical. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and when you're gone, you're thinking about what you're losing rather than what
you're gaining.
What's gaining, right?
Right.
So,
See, and me being atheist, I believe that this is what I have. This is for me right now. This is it. There's nothing else beyond this. Right now, some people will say that's kind of a bleak way to look at it, but I feel like
That's kind of a bleak way to look at it.
See, some people would say that, and there's ways of looking at things that are different, right? Like I look at death, I look at life a lot different than I look at death, right? And if people say that, or if you have a belief in you or in your culture that you have a spirit and you're going to live on forever, then you're going to live your life, your physical life, a lot differently than you would if you were an atheist like myself. Right? Maybe not morally, maybe morally and stuff you're all the same, but maybe different actions and things you take based on the whole influx of emotions you are getting. You're going to react differently to those, right? You're going to say yes to a couple things that maybe somebody else would say no to, right? But is that just based on belief, or is that based on social I guess pressures, or how you were brought up, cultural pressures? Like what is all that based off? Because I don't know. I think we all fundamentally have morals. We all fundamentally have this instinct to be good and be generous and be kind, right?
So you think in certain scenarios, the emotions that we will feel and therefore display would be based on our personal morals,
our personal beliefs,
personal
not morals.
beliefs.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that being valid in certain scenarios. Right?
Because there's definitely things that I would do that you wouldn't do, and definitely certain things that you do that I wouldn't do.
Exactly.
Right?
But that's not because.
But that's the reaction to an emotion.
But I don't
Right?
know.
That's the reaction to the emotion.
Yeah.
That's not the actual.
The actual emotion. Yeah.
Emotions
Yeah.
are so like that. People,
They're very immediate, for
Regardless
sure.
of how often you pray, meditate, do whatever you want, everybody has an emotion and experiences an emotion that they don't want to experience.
Right.
And it's never, and you never. Unless I can't say, I hate saying you never, but
It's very rare.
It's very rare that someone tells themselves, "This is what I'm going to feel," before they feel it.
Yeah.
While they feel it, no. Like, so I'm sad as fuck. This is the second
Sorry,
day
man.
I'm sad.
You wanna
So
hug?
I'm gonna look in the mirror and saying, "I'm going to feel happy," or "I'm going to feel something that's going to conquer the sadness." But I'm going to feel happy tomorrow. So it's always a reaction to it. So I feel like. Half of what you said as far as like the social constructs, how your upbringing, your beliefs and everything like that all guides your reaction to your emotions
Rather than the emotion you
rather
feel
than the
itself.
emotion you feel
Right.
itself.
I agree with that. I actually completely agree with that.
That's great. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was getting at. I just didn't know how to word it. So I appreciate that.
No worries.
The wordsmith. It's like when you have. What you looking at? What's happening? You good?
You're like the dog from Up. Like a
Squirrel.
nigga can't do nothing on the back end. Pause.
Whoa.
Like, seriously. Oh, wait. 33 minutes.
Hey, almost back to 36. We're gonna work those out. By the way, guys, sorry to let you guys know just now. This is going to be the last episode of the year. I know you guys don't like that too much. I like having Christmas.
That makes
off.
some people feel sad.
Oh, I'm sad.
We kind of advocated for that.
You guys did.
After a couple group messages, we're like, I got some, catching up to do. So
You specifically said you got some fucking to do.
I got some catching up to do.
All right. Yeah. So I mean, emotion is. I wanted to get from emotion to how we react to certain emotions and why, and if you guys can give me some insight on that. So, anger, obviously just a word, but the emotion is almost one of the stronger ones, I believe, right? Or one of the more, I guess, hostile intense ones, right? How are you able to control your anger right off the bat? Do you have the kind of self-control? Because I've been trying for a number of years now to limit my anger, and I used to be a real hothead growing up.
I remember.
So I'm trying to like actually step into myself and say, listen, this, you can't act like this, even and think about things before they happen to try to mitigate the circumstances or try to mitigate my emotions, right? Did you guys try that? Do you guys do that at all? Do you guys,
I do it
do you guys
every
try
day,
do you guys
daily.
try and foresee what's going to come so you can kind of be level-headed?
No, I don't necessarily do it in that sense, but what I do is if I start feeling angry, I step back. Right? Not physically, but mentally I step back. So like case in point, the first engineering company I worked at, which shall remain nameless, the owner said something to me one afternoon that pissed me the hell off, and it was way out of line.
Man, fuck that guy.
Right? No, thank you.
Fucking Trinidadians, man.
Right? So now,
Fucking him.
It's not just all Trinis, it's just him.
Yo, I don't like. Side note, I don't understand how he's not a father because everything out of his mouth is a fucking dad
It's a
joke.
dad joke like crazy. Although if your kid's saying fuck that guy and you're saying I'd rather not, that's not really a dad joke. Well, I guess it is.
He needs to be the because he's the uncle.
You're the uncle.
He is
You
the
are
uncle
uncle,
jokes.
Uncle John. I already have an
Uncle
Uncle John.
Vince, yeah.
You need to be the uncle that my kids hang around with because it's like the jokes that's inappropriate but not to the point where it fucks with the kid's head. But it's to the point where the kid's laughing his ass off and the kid's like, and the uncle's like, "Shh, don't tell your mama I told you that though."
But John's not usually drunk or high, and usually the uncle that does that is the drunk one at the barbecue.
Yeah, and they have that connection with the kid where it's like,
Yeah, because they're so fun.
Yeah.
Because they're just like a kid. Because they're mentally stunted.
I guess.
Wait, did you just get backhanded?
I've just been called a mentally stunted dad joke telling
Uncle.
Trinidadian uncle. Mentally stunted.
Yo, we need to hold P's hand and pull him out that dark place.
I know for real. But yeah, no.
So what did he say to you?
So the scenario is he wrote down exactly what he wanted me to do in this modeling program, this 3D modeling program. I did exactly what he wrote down, presented the final product to him. He looked at me and he's like, "This is not what I wanted." And I said, "But this is what you wrote, right?" He goes, "Yes, but this is not what I wanted." So I said, but why did you write this? But before I could finish saying, why did you write this? This dude, who is from a country that does not speak English, looks at me and goes, "Are you deficient in English?"
That's such a awesome way to ask somebody though. Like,
If they're
are you-
retarded?
No,
That's
are you,
awesome.
Are you deficient in English? Now I understand. I would have lost my shit.
All right. No, this is the whole scenario, right?
I could already see your face.
Yeah.
When it happened.
Yeah. No, it was Hulk smash, right? No, but my face betrayed no emotion. I made sure I made a conscious decision to keep my face very straight while biting a hole in my tongue, because it would have been a stream of Trinidadian profanities launched in his direction, right? But
Man, fuck that guy.
that would have been too tame for what was in my mind about to come out.
Under the table,
Right.
his hand was like this.
Yep.
They can't see you on a
yeah.
podcast. They can't
Ready
see you
for
on
a
a
gunshot,
podcast.
yeah.
We on a
Ready for a
podcast.
gunshot.
They can't see that.
Right? But
He almost pinged somebody in the.
so no, I literally I looked at him, I'm like, I'm not deficient in English. Your instructions said so and so.
I did so and so.
Right? So I did so and so. If there's something else you would like me to do, just tell me. It's not a problem. Right? But that was an instance of extreme restraint on my behalf, because I knew there was a greater good to be gained from restraining
Like that
myself.
fucking paycheck.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Not even the paycheck,
But the
This
experience
dude-
as well,
the
right?
experience,
No, I agree with that.
This
I was gonna
man,
get to that next.
Yeah, but this
thanks for
man
killing my
could have
joke.
been-
I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. It's you know what though, payback's a this
So
man-
John, what happened next?
This man could have been having a bad. This man could have been having a bad day,
Right.
and could have came at Vex sideways, just because he's having a bad day. This man probably was not the case, but
Yeah, but there are scenarios to consider.
Right, and that's
Right.
where I wanted to go next with this. Actually, is that what do we do? Because everybody feels emotion. We all feel emotion. We all know how to control our emotions to a degree.
Some better than others,
right?
yes.
Some better than others. I mean, what? And getting to that, there's people that are having bad days, and everybody's going through something. You never know when somebody's going through something. How do you know, or is it possible to distinguish when somebody is going through something in their personal life, and let's say in a professional setting, right? And let's say somebody is going through something personally, do we give them a pass for having emotions like that?
You act in a certain way because you're having a bad day. I think it depends on the scenario, really and truly, right?
And how do you distinguish it?
To me, it's situational, right? So if you come at me and you're having a bad day, but you just start yelling at me and swearing at me and cussing up my mom or something, then I'm sorry, like, don't do that. And it also depends on...
That's restraint. I'm sorry.
Right?
Don't do that.
No, but okay. Really and truly. No, there are very, very many ways to get your point across. Right? To me, the more deadly way to get your point across is to be very, very restrained. Right? If you tell someone, if you yell at them, yo, I'm going to fuck you up, bitch. That is very...
That's calling for an ass whooping.
Well, no. But that is not as intimidating as someone looking at you and saying, I will slit your throat in your sleep tonight if you continue with such behavior.
I don't know, man. The yelling and cussing kind of gets me a little more.
That's
psychotic shit.
The yelling and yes, exactly. I'm way more afraid of the psychotic control
I'm more
dude.
afraid of you now. The thing is that you just pulled that out your ass.
My thing is like the yelling and cussing. The yelling and cussing is not for who's being yelled and cussed at. It's for everybody who's watching.
Yeah.
Now, it's always situational. I do feel in the professional setting where you're getting a paycheck and you're around people probably more than you're around your family. There's always one or two passes. And if you can't get past that, you use a different avenue. You dig what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, and it's like if someone just like if it starts low and then gets heated, either bring it back to low or leave yourself from the situation.
Right? Yeah.
If someone just comes at you heated, out the blue, kind of take a step back and I'm not saying like bitch out and bow down. Just be like, okay, cool. Can we come to it later? Because as soon as you're in a professional setting and someone's acting unprofessional with you, you know what I'm saying? Don't get on the ground and talk a snake to his face.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then you gotta think about different situations. Someone who lashes out at you, crazy profanity, it's personal insults, but you've never seen this person before in your life. They're not mad at you.
No,
they're just mad.
They're mad at either the day, their year, their life, their wife, things like that. So, and you always got to think like you can always talk down the situation. And I learned this from being in customer service for the last however long. With people that I don't know that are mad about a situation that they're talking to me about.
Yeah.
It can always come down to a level. This person's upset. And in most cases, they're legitimately upset. And they're upset with who I'm representing at that time.
Yeah, they're not upset with you per se.
They're not upset with me, but they're upset at who I'm representing. So let them lash out and call me whatever they want. And then my next step is I don't say, because if you say I understand why you're upset or why you're frustrated, it sounds cynical. But if you're like, damn, that would piss me off too. That's not a professional way to say it.
That's saying the same thing. That's saying the same thing, but saying it differently.
Differently. And
right?
that's not the professional thing, but I've
Yeah.
never gotten trouble for using that word because now you're relating with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in those situations, let's say you start low and it gets heated, you be like, okay, you know what, sir, madam, I see this conversation is not getting anywhere positive. It's really getting off track. Can we take a couple of steps back and see what caused us to get there and see if we can get to the solution at a different angle?
You know what you should do?
That always works.
With every customer from now on that you address, literally say sir or madam.
Yo,
cover all the bases.
Assuming both is worse than assuming none or one. You know what I'm saying? But then you got to look at situations where it's like I feel like I am good at controlling my anger sober and moderately drunk, depending on what I'm drinking. But I'm very good at controlling my anger sober until it gets to the point where being rational doesn't work.
Right.
The case in point when we had the conversation with people names we're not gonna say, and when it got to the 10th time, we were trying to be rational, and I had to tell people who the fuck I was and why this was going to be like that. It wasn't an anger thing; it was a frustration thing. It was yelling and da.
That's usually what happens, right? And I want to point out what you said there is actually one of the techniques I use all the time. You guys hear it on this podcast all the time. When we start low and you start having discussion and things progressively get heated, you'll notice my whole tone changes. I'll be yelling 1 second, then as soon as I'll be like, okay, this is what I'm trying to say. And my whole tone changes because once you...
Not a semitone.
Right. Once...
I'm
done. I'm done.
Uncle Vex.
Once you, I find that most likely once you're able to calm yourself and be, and handle your emotions yourself, the other person will have the wherewithal usually to calm themselves down and realize this guy's not yelling at me anymore.
Yeah.
And he's not yelling at me. I should respect that and not yell at him. Now sometimes the person will keep yelling, in which case.
He's talking about me specifically.
No, it's
No,
not.
dead ass.
No,
dead
no.
ass. Like, I'm right here.
No. No, actually, you're actually one.
Sometimes will keep yelling. Just say it because I'm agreeing with you.
No, you don't know. If you and I are yelling at each other, and then all of a sudden I go, and I take a breath, or if you drop your voice, like the shouting's gone. All of a sudden you're just talking to me again. Like, listen, what I'm trying to say is. Then all of a sudden it's okay. We're having a civil conversation again.
But see, that's what trips me. But let me tell you something. So this is what's fucked up. This is what's hilarious, and this is what I love about our dichotomy. When you are yelling and you drop down, is you calming down and trying to come out the anger. When I drop down, I'm pissed. When I'm yelling,
You've gone beyond now.
Yeah. So
I was
yelling,
referring to myself an idol, but
oh, okay. But when I'm yelling, you're an idol's dichotomy is awesome too. It's fucking hilarious. But when I'm yelling, I'm not mad. I've not been legitimately
and neither
mad
am I,
on this
neither am I.
podcast. But when I'm yelling and yelling and yelling and yelling, and I usually drop down.
Frustration.
Yeah, the frustration makes me go. The frustration makes me go. Phew, and then I stop. I'm like, listen, and because I do this right. Listen, and this is me.
And then he gets corrected.
Yo,
he's like, damn.
And then my kid, no, even if I like, but if I'm passionate about something,
Right.
and I'm wrong, and I get corrected.
You get more angry.
I don't even get. No, I don't. Like, it's okay. I may be a little bit upset, but I'm not mad. I'm like, fuck. Like, I need to look at right. It's more of a pride thing, but that's gone like that. Like,
Right.
I've never been legitimately upset with any of the podcasts or any people on it. But that's how I do. If I'm yelling and screaming, just for like anybody listening and y'all future references. Right, if we out in public and I'm yelling and screaming, just know there's like 2 or 3 levels that you can still pull Will back.
Oh yeah, and I think that
but
goes with all of us, right? Like I always tell people, if you see me animated and yelling, you're still safe.
You have a chance.
When I stop talking, you need to run.
Yeah.
Go.
That's
Right,
absolutely
because
true.
that's when something drastic might happen.
And the wife
It's-
and kids know that.
Yeah, it's like the
Absolutely.
day Parnell and I
The cutlass
the cutlass incident, right? I didn't have to talk to this fool. There were never going to be any words coming out of my mouth addressing this guy, right? It's when the people that will make this big display and yell and get inside their feelings and stuff. I'm less afraid of those. I'm more afraid of the rude boy in the corner of the reggae party just watching you.
Yeah, because my whole thing is like, if I need you to feel what I'm saying, I need the yelling and screaming is a mask.
Yeah.
This is for people around me to be like, yo, calm down or get him out.
Yeah.
Because if I need to, dog, I'm the dude that says, yo, let's take this conversation into the back room where it's just me and you and there's no people watching. And as soon as you tell the motherfucker that you want to talk to them with no witnesses, they kind of pull back.
Yeah.
And I'll do that, like, even when we did we did a show, me and Cher went to the show, and shit popped off, and da-da-da-da. I pulled 2 niggas to the side. I'm like, yo, y'all really aggy right now. Let's go into the VIP room and talk without no witnesses. One
As
nigga
soon as you
without
say no
witness-
witnesses, yes.
And one dude's like, all right, let's go talk, right? He like kind of was like, okay, yeah, let's go talk about this. And his friend's pulling his arm, was like, nah. And I'm like, nah, it's cool, we're safe. And we went back there, had a regular conversation, came out, and everything was squashed, right? There was no egg or nothing like that. Because I feel like a group of people around you will raise emotions.
Exactly.
million
Yeah.
percent.
Yeah. Straight up.
And on that, guys, this episode has been brought to you by Lex Clothing and Culture Spot, where you can get the brands you like 26 Dover, Supreme, Champion, everything the kids want for holiday season. Make sure and get there. Specializing in retro sneakers, every Jordan you could ever think of. Like, really,
Yeah.
those Concords that just released,
Yeah, man.
they got them.
Yeah, man.
Those Jordan 1s, the Breads, they got
I
them.
want them.
Those J3s, those Cements, they got
I
them.
don't want them.
Just because you don't like threes, man.
Yeah. Give me the 4s or the 5s
Even
or
if-
the 11s.
They got everything you ever want, man.
Right.
Everything from Yeezys to Jordans, every kind of retro you ever want, man. They got them there. They got 2 locations: Chinook Mall, 17th Avenue, downtown Calgary. Make sure and check them out, man. Trust me, you cannot go wrong if you're looking for something for your kid. If you're looking for something for yourself, if you're just an old sneakerhead like my ass, make sure and get down there and check something out, man. In fact, I take a size 9 and whatever the fuck you want. So get down there, check them out, and back to the show. So, guys, we're talking about emotion, and we're about to get into. What the fuck were we going to get into?
Well, we were talking about how groups can egg on emotion.
Yeah, see, now if you're with a whole group, the groups exasperate your emotions a million percent. Like,
Exacerbate.
that's what I said.
No, you said exasperate.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah. Yes.
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 Yes. It gets to the point where you could be if you're feeling a little bit happy, you could be with friends that you're cool with that you really like. You get excited,
Yes.
right? Or you could just be sad and you'll call that one person who's always sad, and he'll just make you sad, or she'll make you sad, or
Yeah,
whatever,
the whole
right?
misery loves company kind of thing.
Right. How do we get past our emotions? And by that I mean, obviously our emotions are something that teach us something every time they come about. But what's the best way to get past that initial
Do they,
reaction?
though?
Every emotion helps you.
Does it though?
Positive or negative, it helps you.
No.
Okay.
I don't think every emotion helps you. I do think.
Talk into the microphone, please.
Okay.
Pause.
I don't think every emotion is needed, and I wasn't.
I didn't say needed.
Okay. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. I said every emotion helps you.
I know what you said. I slipped up, but thanks for pointing it out in the middle of my sentence. Keep going.
Okay.
This
How-
emotion I'm feeling right now is not helping me, so keep going.
So why wouldn't which emotion do you think doesn't help you? Positive or negative, I guess.
It depends on the situation. It depends on the emotion you feel. Sometimes you feel an emotion that's just based off of reaction. It doesn't help you at all, which is why people handle their emotions. This is why people consciously make decisions not to act on their emotions. If all emotions helped you, you wouldn't need a conscious decision not to act on
Right,
it.
I'm gonna stop you
Anger
there.
is not an emotion that helps you. If you piss me off and I get mad, that doesn't help me.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Absolutely, it does, and here's why: is if I piss you off, you're going to get angry or upset. That lets you realize that whatever we were doing that got you upset, you're not going to do that again because you don't want to get that way again, or you're not going to trust me, you're not going to do business with me, you're not going to do something, right?
No, because every time you interrupt me, it pisses me off. I'm dead
And that's-
serious. Every
that's a
time you
scenario
inter-
you can't get
Yeah,
out of.
Every time you interrupt me, it pisses me off.
All right.
Now, I'm not saying you interrupt me with bullshit. I'm not saying that you interrupt me is not warranted.
no, I
I'm
get
saying
that.
that when you interrupt me, it pisses me
Uh-huh.
off. Me
And then?
acting out on being pissed off,
Right.
doesn't help me. It does when I hear when I can control it and I just ignore you. But
Well
that
played.
doesn't help me. That's
well
not
played,
sir. but on all seriousness, that's not an emotion that helps me. There's
Okay.
nothing about me getting mad about you interrupting me that helps me or our situation. Like like at the end of the day, you're interrupting me. Who gives a fuck?
Right,
What
but
does help me is if I feel the emotion and I teach myself how to control that emotion. For instances where I do feel that emotion with other things, and I use that same thing. So it's not the emotion.
Exactly.
The emotion
That's
didn't help me.
That's where I was getting to.
But that's not an emotion helping you. That's you helping yourself handle the emotion.
Right. I didn't. Right. So every emotion is not going to help you in every situation. Right. I agree with that. Right. Having anger in every situation that you feel angry in is not going to help you. I get that. But there are certain times you feel anger that's going to help you. Right.
I don't. No, I do not think that anger is a helpful emotion. I feel anger is a emotion that we probably should have evolved out of by now. Because anger has nothing to do with fight or flight. Fear is the fight or flight. Anger is really a emotion that isn't directed on yourself. Fear is a emotion that's directed on yourself because it's like, okay, I'm scared as fuck. Can I handle it or should I leave? Love is emotion. Love or
I don't know.
whatever
I
emotions.
disagree with that. But
But I
I
don't
do
think
too.
that. I don't think anger is an emotion because anger makes you want to lash out at somebody
Yeah.
or something. I don't understand. I do in my eyes. I don't think that's a productive emotion.
Well, let me give you a scenario then, hypothetical. Right? You come home one afternoon and someone is violating one of your kids. You're gonna get pissed off,
Right.
right? And you're gonna lash out in anger to protect that child.
But I'm lashing out in fear of what's happening to them. Anger may be I don't think anger's the one that's making me lash out. I think it's because it's my child and something's happened to
I
them.
disagree.
I've seen, like, it wouldn't even. No, because
It wouldn't
I'm
be fear.
calculating
It wouldn't
I may be lashing out, but
it
I'm
would-
still controlling that anger.
Listen,
I'm calculating.
I don't think it would be fear. I think it would be blind rage. If something comes down to your kids like something like that, I think it would be blind rage.
But you're still, but I'm still, knowing me, I'm not holding back, but I'm definitely taking away the blind rage and calculating what I'm doing.
right,
I
you're still
need to-
acting. You're still acting with anger,
But
right?
it depends. I could be, I could not be. I could be not acting upon anger, but now I'm calculating that shit. Now it's just, there's no blind fury. Now it's just a calculation of 3 pressure points and a burial. Like, I have to think logically. I don't know that situation. Heaven forbid would that myself or anybody would have to be in that situation, but I don't feel like anger helped you in that situation. I do feel like anger directed you in what you did, but I don't think it would be a help of you, because even if you did not feel anger at all, you would stop that situation. Even if it wasn't your kid, you would stop that situation. And even if it wasn't anger, you dig what I'm saying? Like, just a protection
but
thing.
to me,
but anger
the thing
does
is,
that, but I don't think,
to me, anger would be
the driving motivation.
Yeah, absolutely,
but
right.
I still don't feel anger helped.
Yeah, because I don't think to kind of rewind and touch on what you said. I don't think there is a scenario where someone wouldn't be angry.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now, again, there are different strokes for different folks, right? But I think generally, most human beings would look at a child being physically or whatever violated and
You're
get
gonna get
angry,
angry.
right? That anger, and I'm being very simplistic here, right? In my scenario, that anger would drive me to protect that child, right? I think I don't think emotions, I guess to really answer what Parnell was getting at, I don't think emotions have inherent good or bad to them. Right? I don't think emotions inherently can be inherently helpful or inherently a hindrance.
Detriment.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Right.
It's your actions. It's how you react
execute.
to them.
Yes, exactly.
Which is why people need to. That's why they say control your emotions, and which is, I don't know if this is a segue into anything, but which is a fucked up thing, and I think that may be a thing that's leading into a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of this, because the only true emotions that were ever taught and showed how to, or told that we need to control or have an understanding of, is anger.
Anger and sadness, I would say.
Sadness
Yeah.
sadness for the most
Well,
part.
those are the ones that
but-
hurt us the most, I think, right? Our anger and sadness, right? Those are the ones we have to control. We don't really have to
It
control
depends.
we don't really have to control happiness. We
well-
should sometimes. I mean, there's some.
Well, yeah, you're
when
not
you're in
gonna-
business, sometimes you want to see don't want somebody to see how happy you are about a deal or some shit like that, right? But
But
for
yeah,
the, for the
but even
most
so,
part-
like there are instances where being overly jubilant based on happiness is not appropriate, right?
At a funeral.
So for a funeral, or even if you're in church, right?
you
like
can't be happy at church.
no, overly
Depending on the
jubilant.
church.
Yeah,
Why not?
Depending on the church you go to.
So, for example, I'm not gonna sit in church and start cracking jokes with the person next to me.
Okay, yeah, so I get that.
Right. So hence the overly jubilant. Right.
I didn't know how far over we're going,
Uh-huh.
because your overly is a little different than my overly. So
Yeah, I know in Guyana they don't know what happiness is at all. You know,
we still sleeping in the sticks, man.
$100 for a toilet paper roll. What can you say?
Is it? I think it's up a little more higher than that.
Oh yeah,
now.
that was in the 90s before I left Trinidad.
So it's gotta be- gotta be
probably about
$200,
$2,000 for a roll of toilet paper.
Jesus,
How can you be
inflation's
happy? You know,
I suppose.
I feel sorry
Canadian?
for
No, Guyanese.
Guyanese. Yeah,
Which I
Was
mean,
that like
when my dad first came here, he had $15 in his pocket, which equaled out to 2 cents Canadian.
your dad had 2 cents.
Canadian.
Wow,
When he came to this country.
wow. Yo, Mr. Ramlal,
Yeah,
enough
man.
respect, man.
That's one of the hardest men I've ever met in my life, man. For bro, no pause. Hard as in thick-skinned. It's a Caribbean term.
And cool as
Don't
hell.
look at me like that.
Thick-skinned is not a Caribbean term, but thank
No,
you.
no, I said hard. Like it's a hard man.
Okay. That's not a Caribbean term either.
More. Yes, where it came from.
Just because they said it there doesn't mean it's a Caribbean
That's
term.
rappers are the fuck off.
That's a hard man. I'm pretty sure that fucking the Lower East Side of Brooklyn, or pretty sure the Irish use it too.
Yeah, the Caribbean equivalent
hard
of that
man.
is
That's Caribbean.
Is
No offense,
hardback man.
Hardback.
Yeah,
Okay, there you go.
yeah. So, but yeah, no, I think with the whole emotions thing, it's all the good or bad comes from how you execute, right? The execution that comes from the
Right.
emotion.
Right. Now, how do we determine which way we should react, or not react? How we should act? Because reaction is a reaction, but an action is actual thought out. Is actually thought out. So, how do you think we should act when we
Positively.
feel our emotions?
If you feel an emotion that a reaction would generate a negative,
Describe
Response.
positive though.
I don't need to describe positive.
No, what I mean is describe it as in like if you're angry, you're gonna have a positive reaction or action to angry.
If you're
That's-
if you're angry, try and have a reaction that doesn't pull the person onto the same level, and try to have a reaction that takes you out of that feeling. When we think about emotions and angry, we also have to understand your emotions and the feeling you're getting from them. An emotion is an emotion. How the emotion makes you feel is different. So if you're angry, you don't feel positive. If you're angry, you don't feel like doing good things. If you're feeling an emotion that makes you want to do something bad, take a step back and think about the repercussions of what. So if you feel an emotion that makes you want to do something, but then if you feel an emotion that makes you want to do something good, think about where you are. If that good thing should happen at that time, like
Yeah.
I always feel like I want to like rip my girl's shirt off and rah rah rah. Can't do it when we're walking through the mall.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Time
Well,
and place. Yeah.
But there's a time and place, right? But anger, something that makes you want to lash out at another human, something that makes you want to berate another human, something that makes you want to pull another human down, even if you're sad and you want to pull another human, something that makes you want to put another human in a place where they're not feeling good. So let's say good and bad. If you feel good, you feel bad. Now, as far as if it's gonna make you want to make another person feel bad, then it may not be the right reaction to that emotion.
Yeah, you don't want to bring people down, right? For me, it's all about, and I'm by no means an expert on this, but I have had experience in this area. Pre-planning, right? Should you, and I mean, I think this applies more to the negative emotions, what we would consider the negative emotions. Should you feel enraged, you need to already have a plan in mind on how you're going to deal with it, right? And without that, you get hot-headed reactions, which usually leads to problems, right? I've had friends killed at reggae parties because, someone had a hot-headed reaction and pulled out a gun and, well, there was a bullet,
Right.
So you can't be going around doing those kind of things. You need to really calculate, right?
Yeah, I mean, for many people, and I'm going to read here How to Manage Emotions More Effectively. This is by Margarita Tartakovsky, MS Associate Editor.
A Russian bot.
Right, from PsychCentral.com. And she says, for many people, emotions are a scary thing. Part of the problem is that we just don't know what to do with them. And that's according to Darlene Minini?
Mini-me?
Yeah.
Darlene Mini-me.
So we turn to the strategies that we know. Strategies that we know on how to deal with them, right? If you're a man, you might distract yourself by playing video games, tinker with your tools, or drinking alcohol. If you're a woman, you might shop or eat. Turning to these tools occasionally...
Wow, those were all very sexist.
Right.
I'm offended.
It's written by women, so fuck off. Turning to these tools
If you're a man,
occasionally
you drink.
is okay. Minini, I said it right. Making them part of your regular coping repertoire, however, is problematic. Emotions are valuable and offer a bounty of benefits. Once we're able to process and cope with them effectively, we can learn a lot about ourselves and our needs. Emotions send us important messages and help us connect with others and accomplish great things. Using unhealthy strategies can sabotage our relationships, job, and even our health. In fact, people who handle stress effectively have healthier immune systems, don't get sick as often, and age up to 16 years more slowly than people who don't. Decoding your emotions. So she says that all emotions fall into these categories: anxiety, sadness, anger, and happiness, which is a little different than the one we had before. With anxiety, she said you might light up with what ifs. Like, what if I lose my job? What if I don't meet somebody? What if I fail my test? You have thoughts of future and everything can go wrong. Your physical sensations include a racing heart, tight muscles, and clenched jaw. With sadness, you have negative thoughts about the past. You feel tired. You feel tired and heavy. What?
Keep going. I'm agreeing with you. I can't even. Sorry for showing my emotion.
No, you were banging the table, though,
The-
where it comes through.
The complex emotion of excitedness.
Yeah, like-
Excitement.
yeah,
So with sadness, you
touched
have
on
negative thoughts
something.
about the past. You feel tired and heavy. You might cry and have trouble concentrating. With anger, your thoughts are focused on how you or your values have been attacked. The physical sensations are similar to anxiety, including a racing heart and tightness in the body. With happiness, your thoughts are focused on what you've gained. Maybe you landed a great job, found a nice apartment, or received a compliment. Physically, you feel light or calm and might laugh and smile. The next step is to identify the message of your emotion. And to do so, you have to ask yourself these 3 questions. Anxiety, what am I afraid of?
Yes,
Sadness, what have I lost?
probably.
Anger, how have I or my values been attacked? And for happiness, what have I gained?
Well, yeah, I just had to break down some dumb. I had to break some shit down and
Okay.
I had to break down levels.
Take some stock.
No,
Okay.
break levels down.
Okay.
You know me.
Okay.
It's been 3 episodes since I talked about levels.
It's true. No, I talk about it every fucking podcast I ever do.
But I think
And now you got Jaggy Sand levels.
because there's levels to everything. But I think with happiness, yeah. I was just thinking about the happiness I get when I don't know, because I get happiness when I provide for my people.
Yeah, so you're not thinking about what you've gained.
Yeah.
No, but what
what I
you
gain is a sense of fulfillment
yeah.
that makes me happy. I don't.
Yeah.
That's iffy. Like a sense
Yeah.
of fulfillment
Listen,
isn't really
yeah.
a gain that I'm
yeah.
not thinking
That's a
about.
good
that.
hamster wheel to be on,
But,
though, bro.
yeah, it is. It's a wonderful hamster wheel to be on, but you're not really thinking about I just gained fulfillment. You're just looking at the people
Right.
that
Their joy.
their joy, like the people you
Brings
like,
you
even,
joy.
Like when I
And
brought
that
Vex a
breaks down.
burger
That
the
breaks
other day,
down. That breaks down.
and he was so grateful. I walked out of here like, fuck, man, Vex is shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just felt cool as fuck. Like, it made me happy to bring this nigga a burger, and hopefully it didn't make him sick because everything we ate made us sick, right?
Nah, man, that was good.
But the whole thing is like when I provide for my people, not even provide, just when I make my people happy, and I mean family, y'all, friends. My mama, when my mom says I'm proud of you, like it just makes me. I haven't gained. Well, maybe I gained the pride of my mom, but you're not really thinking.
Yeah, you haven't won the lottery or
Right.
something like
Yeah,
that.
so-
you know, like
Well, she goes on, coping with emotions. So once you've identified the emotion and its message, the last step is to take action. Ask yourself if there's anything you can do to solve the situation.
man, I'm so happy. How do I solve this?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like I can I can see how this points to, excuse me, quote unquote negative emotions
Yep.
or emotions that would make you do negative things. But happiness is just like, I think people want to break happiness down so much
They overthink
that people
it. Yeah.
overthink it, and then they get lost trying to find it. When it's just like, dog, you happy? So what's that? Just be happy. I think happiness is one of those emotions where it doesn't need you don't need an explanation. You don't need a what's it called?
Exactly.
It's like you feel happy.
You don't need to
even-
rationalize it,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah, exactly. Don't
I
even
love
think
Bobby
about what's
McFerrin.
made.
Don't worry, be happy.
Maybe think about what's made you happy, so you can put yourself and other people in that same situation.
Yeah.
But after that, just you're happy. That's what's the purest fucking feeling other than love is happiness, and love is a form of happiness because you can't be happy if you're not comfortable. And love is
Your
the
confidence
utmost comfortability.
astounds me sometimes.
Huh?
Your confidence astounds me sometimes.
So how are you gonna solve that? No, I'm just joking. But what do you mean? I don't understand.
But because you're taking shots at a PhD and an MPH, but also agreeing with her at the same time, which is fucking hilarious to me. I love
No,
it.
well,
But
just
it's not
because
even-
she has
I
a
don't feel like I'm
PhD
taking
doesn't mean
shots.
she's 100% correct.
No, it's true.
Yeah, wasn't
You know,
David Duke
so-
a doctor?
I have no idea.
PhD? Doesn't David Duke have a PhD?
But not an MPH.
Okay, who wrote the Willie Lynch letters? He had a PhD.
Oh yeah, for sure he did.
Okay, so just because you have a PhD, doesn't
we
mean
going
you're
to
right.
Willie Lynch. It's the second week in a row we talk about Willie Lynch.
Did we?
Well, not on the podcast. You and I talked about it outside the podcast. Willie Lynch.
Was it,
We were arguing about woke downstairs.
dog. That was after this. That was after the bottle of gin
The
was
gin
here. I
again.
don't remember that shit.
Okay.
I don't fucking remember Willie
okay.
Lynch.
So listen. So.
So that was the compliment.
So ask yourself if there's anything you can do to solve the situation. If there is, consider what you can do. For instance, if you're upset that you can't find a good job, maybe you can have friends review your resume or hire a professional resume writer. Maybe you can sharpen your interview skills or extend your research a few zip codes. If there's nothing you can do, determine how you can cope with the emotion. Hold on. Let me just get this off first. Meditating, getting social support, writing, exercising, and seeking therapy. Think of these strategies as emotional toolkit. You simply reach into your toolkit and pick out the healthy tool you need. In fact, you can create an actual tote and pack it with comforting items such as sneakers and a journal, funny films, favorite books, and a list of people you like to call when you're upset. You guys saw my face when I was fucking reading that, right?
Yes, it
The
was
strategies that work
not
best.
impressed.
Hold on. The strategies that work best will vary with each person, depending on your personalities, physiology, and other individual factors. For some people, running works wonders in alleviating anxiety. It
I
does.
do like the sneakers part of the
Yeah.
the
For
remedy
others,
though.
mediation
Yeah.
is better.
You would.
You know what I fucking hate about this? I hate that I just berated Will about going after a PhD, MPH, and now I disagree with her.
Yes.
You know what I hate?
Yes.
You know what I hate about this?
Because it turned into a fluff piece.
Yeah.
The thing I hate about this is like if something's making you feel a certain way, change something about you so that same thing doesn't make you feel that way. Maybe whatever's making you feel that way is not for you.
Yeah.
She's talking about finding a job, though.
Exactly.
So-
you didn't get the job. Da, 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 da.
Oh, yeah,
Have
okay.
your friends look at
The-
your resume. Maybe that's not the job that was designed for you.
I
Yeah.
think I think she's breaking it down a little more simply than that. I think she's breaking it down like you're just trying to get a job, not a
Yeah.
certain job.
Like, but I understand what she's saying. She's just not saying it very well.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah,
in my
but,
opinion.
Like, I mean, yeah, it really looks like it's
yeah, that's on the writer.
you didn't
that's not
get
on her.
this, change that, or change. Like, maybe some things just aren't built for you. Maybe I think one of the main things about this is how I handle depression and sadness, and it sometimes works. Sometimes I need to speak to people I love, but can you and stress? Stress. I've been able to manage stress so wonderfully. It trips me the fuck
running
out.
for me was my biggest stress handler.
Yeah,
with
the
anxiety
gym
and
help.
everything.
The gym helps, but for my mind, right? Like the gym helps with the stress, but after that, I just need to handle that stress. But this is how I handle stress now. Can I change it? Yes. I'm not gonna stress. I'm gonna change it.
yeah. Or
Can
no.
I change it? No. Then
Well,
I'm not gonna stress. I
Yeah.
can't change it.
Yeah,
and
you
like
real-
I
yeah,
go
you
through,
realize-
I
Yeah.
go through life like, and dog. When I first heard that, I'm like, and then it's been about 2 to 3 years where I've actually implemented this. And even at work, where something comes up and everybody's stressed, I'm like, can we do anything about this? Like, no, that's the way it is. I'm like, so why are we stressing?
Yeah.
Nobody can come at us for this because we can't change it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it goes back to the Serenity Prayer, and I think John will probably know this, right? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference.
Yes.
Right? You have to know. That was weird, me quoting a fucking.
The most because I mean a lot of the things that are in the Bible are if you take like
Listen,
a lot
I have
a
that
lot
on
of
my
them are
wall. It
wonderful.
doesn't say God in front of it, but I still have that on my wall because it's a good lesson, right?
It's a lot of stuff in there is wonderful lesson.
Yeah, exactly, right? And it's just weird that people don't.
Rule of thumb, wonderful lesson.
Yeah. People take what they're feeling and will act on that based on raw emotion instead of intellectually knowing why they're feeling that way or taking the time to ask anybody else that they know about how they should feel, right? Not taking anybody else's account into it, which is weird.
Because emotions are a clever bitch. Emotions happen in the moment and trick you into thinking that you need to react on that in order to continue or stop it. So happiness, and sometimes people, like you said, there's no such thing as being overly happy, but there's always too much of a good thing. If drinking milk makes you happy and you're like, fuck it, I'm going to drink 4 gallons of milk, you're not going to be happy. Anger. So your emotion tricks you into thinking that you need to act on that right then and there in order to either stop that emotion, because everybody wants to stop anger, or just lash out on it. You're probably not consciously thinking it, or sadness. That's why the sadness causes suicide. Anger causes heat of. That's why there's so many.
Crimes of passion.
Thank you. This motherfucker's in my head. Pause. Crimes of passion, because
I'm just not listening.
you pop, right? You pop. That hit of emotion hits you, and emotion is more than just a fucking feeling. Emotion is it takes control of you.
Yeah.
You sometimes emotion hits you so hard, your brain is so fixated on that emotion. I know people that, like, when my grandmother died, I was physically sick. There was nothing virus sickness wrong with my body, but I was physically sick.
Yeah.
I had to be told you need to eat. I'm not holding nothing down. Physically sick. Like my matriarch, the only person I know that's been there from jump, gone. And I mean, she was 90 something. I mean, she was expecting
Yeah.
like 80, 89, 88, something like that. But at the end of the day, she's gone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
You'll never see her again
exactly
in this
so
world, yeah.
There's something about emotions where it's like we have tools, we have people with PhD, MDs, LFDs, KFCs, and LMAOs that have all this this advice and all that. But these same people still will tell you it's not easy to take control of your emotions in the moment.
Right. And it's never going to be easy.
That's why
it gets easier over time. Obviously, right? The more you learn how to control, depending on what situation you're in, right?
And it's even so, depending on the situation.
So let's close this out. Will, what are your final thoughts on emotions, man?
We have them. We have them.
Okay,
I agree.
Them. And
yes.
if you I just think
let's just nod our heads.
I'm not gonna be I can't be the poster child for controlling your emotions, because Lord knows that I've lost that battle a few times. All I know is if you're having an emotion, men feel.
Well,
It's nothing wrong. I'm not saying men do feel. Mm-hmm. I'm talking to men and telling them to feel. Mm-hmm. There is absolutely nothing wrong with feeling. Let a man in his late 30s tell you that. Men, it's okay to feel.
It's true.
And if you feel like you can't take what you're feeling, talk to somebody. Mm-hmm. That's all I gotta say.
I'm gonna go next because I think John has his. John is probably the most control over his emotions and everybody. He's probably put this in a more poignant closing on this. So whatever Will said, yeah, ditto that. It's guys, we got to start talking about emotions. I think we talked about this a couple podcasts ago too. Guys have to start talking about their emotions.
It was a mental illness.
Yeah, the mental health one. We have to start realizing what emotions can do for us, whether they're positive or negative. We have to start realizing that there is people to talk to. There is. You don't have to deal with all your emotions all the time by yourself. If you're feeling overwhelmed with something, there might be some other things going on with you, and you should probably figure that out. Other than that, man, listen, it gets easier to control your emotions with time. Little things shouldn't annoy you, shouldn't aggravate you. They still do for me, so I'm not really the one to speak on it. But there's certain things that push my buttons, and just like everybody else, they're going to push yours. So we need to learn how to deal with that in a positive way and not let it drag us down into the depths of hell.
Depths of hell coming from an atheist. That's pretty interesting.
I was raised Christian, man.
No, you know what? Both of you guys have some awesome points. I think the only thing that I would have loved to have touched on, but we didn't, so maybe we can save it for another episode, is I would say the relative lack of emotional control in society compared to what we were like before.
All right, let's get into it.
Right? Well,
if we're doing 2 podcasts,
we're not getting into it.
If you want to do the second podcast, we can't get into
it.
All right,
fine.
Sorry.
No. It's in a nutshell. I think people are getting more and more emotional over the small things, right? So, yeah, right. Things that would not have disturbed your grandparents are sending you off the deep end. For what? Right? Someone says some remark to you and you're going off the deep end, whereas your grandfather would have been like, who cares? Right? And he wouldn't have said who cares in his 60s. He would have said who cares when he was a teenager. Right?
And and I have grandparents who have crosses burned on their lawns. That says a lot.
Exactly. Right? I think lot. You know what? I think that, and there's actually, I'm going to give a very short story that I heard from a guy named Larry Elder. Right? Larry Elder went on vacation. He's an African American social commenter, lawyer down in the US. He was on vacation. He came back and he heard a limerick. Maybe not a limerick, but a little rhyme, right? And and he recited it to his mother, right? And I'm not going to recite the whole rhyme, but I guess the point of it was someone was telling an African American kid all of these good things, like, so he would go and someone would compliment him and someone else would compliment him, but his vacation was ruined when someone called him a nigger. And his mother's response was, if something that small will anger him, I feel sorry for him.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So, and again, this is coming from a guy who grew up, or whose parents grew up during segregation, right? The Jim Crow era, right? So, a woman who has experienced actual racism and is going, well, if that's going to ruin your day, then something's wrong with you, right? These days, something small like that will cause someone to get shot, right? We need to get a handle on our emotions in a logical fashion, or else we're going to have disaster.
Absolutely.
Right?
Kill your pride. Kill your
Exactly. Pride always comes before the fall. Anyway, that's the end of my rant.
And I didn't mean to laugh when you did that, but
Yes, you
limerick.
did.
No.
Yes, you did. You just couldn't
Anytime
limerick?
anybody says limerick, for whatever reason, it reminds me of Leprechauns and the girl from Nantucket limerick, and I lose it. Limerick is just that word. Everybody has their trigger word.
You need to
and
control your
Limerick's
emotions.
I do. You're too jovial.
So listen, guys, that was the last episode of the year. We've been doing this for 8 months. Thank you, guys, both you two, and thank you to all our listeners for sticking with us. Listen, I couldn't have imagined a better, more positive turnout than what we've already had. You guys keep me going. You two and our listeners.
All right.
Suck it up, fam. Like, stop. Like, gay. No.
And with that, we out this motherfucker.